British children are 50 times more likely to experience gender distress than a decade ago, a new NHS study has shown. In 2011, only 200 under 18s identified as transgender or with questions over their gender, compared to 2021. This is the 10-year measurement, where over 10,000 had the same questions. The study also found a significant increase in girls identifying as boys and a link between gender questioning and autism or mental health issues. Stephanie Davies-Arai is with us, founder of Transgender Trend. Stephanie, afternoon to you. We can talk about wow, look at those figures, but in another respect, they don't surprise me. I can absolutely see how probably 9,500 of those figures came in the last year of that survey.
Well, we've been seeing this rise since around 2015. That's when it started, and it started, coincidentally perhaps, with the push of transgender ideology into schools through transgender organisations like Stonewall, and there's been a huge proliferation of these so-called LGBTQ groups now providing schools resources under the guise of anti-bullying, it used to be, and now it's through relationships and sex education, and increasingly through mental health resources. But, we have this idea that's being presented to children as fact, which is that everyone has a gender identity, some sort of inner gendered soul, and that is the definition of being a boy or a girl, and it's not to do with your biology. Yeah. This has been taught as fact. So children are being taught to understand what are actually quite normal and quite common feelings of distress and confusion at puberty and during adolescence as meaning that they are transgender, and they are fully encouraged to do so through these groups online, through the media, through everyone who's funding these groups, including the government, the previous government, through children's charities, through local councils. Children can't get away from this idea that gender, they have a gender identity. It's a good thing to do to explore it, to find out if they're a girl or a boy. Teenagers don't need this. It's a time of upheaval and confusion anyway. So why we're introducing this as what adolescents have now is a new way of conceptualizing normal adolescent problems.
It's criminal in many respects, Stephanie, because, of course, what ultimately seems to happen, and I'm not disputing there are kids who grow into adults who have a confusion over their gender identity. Nobody would want to cause harm to those people. Nobody would want to say that they are, making it up. There's clearly going to be some people who have question marks. But just not all people. And the idea, as you rightly point out, that kids going through pretty standard rudimentary experiences at puberty are then not just acknowledged but actively encouraged to say, oh yeah, you're probably a boy then. It's like, what? Hang on, whoa, who said that? What? I'm a boy? I was just wondering. But that is the problem, isn't it? We're living in a really curious world where the system, to put it that way, doesn't seem to offer up the option to those kids that maybe that isn't the case.
Well, it's completely undermining of reality and a sort of basis of reality that really children need, that foundation of understanding to grow up and to be anchored in the real world. And the reality is you're either male or female, and that can't change. But it's transphobic to say that now. And children are also taught this, that if you don't believe in this idea of having a gender identity, then you're some kind of a bigot, including parents. So it's harmful on so many levels. It's creating such distress and devastation, actually, in families. Families being split apart by this, and children becoming really indoctrinated into ideas where parents are saying, it's as if my child joined a cult. They're just repeating mantras that we see all the time. And so I think it's incredibly harmful psychologically for every child, because it doesn't give them that basis of reality. mental health, good mental health, is really predicated on an understanding and an acceptance of reality, not a split between mind and body, which is what we're encouraging. I'm really concerned that it's now going into schools through mental health resources, because that's a big thing in schools now, post-COVID. And this sort of idea of gender identity is being slipped in just through another route now. So I'm very, very concerned about those mental health resources, and how it's being practiced in schools. Because, of course, if you introduce a child to a mental health condition, it's the same, you know, we're all human, we all do it. We all immediately think we've got it. You know,
Sure.
it really is, you know, at that time of life. And it's not surprising that it is the most vulnerable children who are getting caught up in this, you know, the ones with existing mental health issues, the ones, you know, children from care homes, autistic children, gay and lesbian children who are struggling with their sexuality.
Yeah.
It's all of those groups, which is obvious that it would be.
I've lost count of how many calls we've taken from, and I can think of a couple fairly recently of gay callers who, two female gay callers who said that they were told that they're probably not gay, they're probably a boy.
Which is really counting away the gay, isn't it?
Where is, yeah, well, what's the deal there then? Why would somebody in authority, as far as these people who were kids at the time, this only goes back a couple of years, why would somebody tell them that? Why could they not just be gay?
You're not a same-sex attracted girl, you're a straight boy.
Yes, that's a very bizarre way of looking at it. That's a phobia in itself. It's extraordinary.
Yes.
Listen, Stephanie, we will sadly have to speak again. I say that kindly because this story doesn't go away. Stephanie Davies-Arai, who's the founder of Transgender Trend.